My name is Juan Leon, and I'm blessed to have a family of two girls and one wife. I'm a physical education teacher and athletic director at Greater Miami Adventist Academy, and I'm blessed. One of my most recent blessings from God has been that this year I was awarded the Physical Education Teacher of the Year in North America for the North American Division. That's the United States and Canada, and is humble about it, but very prestigious award, and blessed for it. Being a coach is an amazing thing because through the years, I started coaching in 1995, and through the years, sometimes you're walking around the beach or you're walking in Miami malls, and you bump into someone and say, "Hey, Coach." They call me Coach. A lot of people call me Coach. Some call me Leon. Even my wife calls me Leon sometimes. But one of the blessings is that you get to know so many students, and then as a matter of fact, some of my best friends right now are former students, and that is an amazing thing. Not many people can say that. But probably nobody could imagine where it all started. I was born in Nicaragua, and early in my childhood there was a tragedy, and my parents died in a car accident. They were coming from church, and it was a head-on collision, I believe with drunk drivers, and so both of my parents died, mom and dad, and also my mom was pregnant, so she lost a baby girl, and it was a very impactful thing in my life because I was just growing up. I was 6 years old, and I remember that my brother, I was sleeping, and my brother knocked on the door of the room, and he came in, and he told both of us, Jim and I, my older brother, that our parents were not coming home anymore. And to me, I remember that I started crying right next to the bed, and I cried a lot that night, and it was a very sad moment. But I guess in my childhood, if I was to look back and see all the things, right after that there was a war that my country broke into, and lived through a war, saw people dying, heard gunshots right outside my house. If I look back, I will compare it to if I'm diving deep in the ocean, and I was able to breathe. And the only way I can describe that was it was a miracle. God protected us, God guarded us, God kept us alive, and He had a bigger plan. One time I remember that we went out to search for food during the war because there was looting all over the place, and we went out to search for food. It was I believe it was my sister, my brother, and I, and we went out, and we got some food in some places. I was very little, so I even got some toys with me to be brought back home. But I remember that we were on the main street, and all of a sudden I hear a noise on the background coming, and as it got closer and louder, we realized there was gunshots. It was a Jeep with a machine gun on top, and it was firing at anything that moved on the street. And I remember that all of us left the things there on the street, and we went inside a sewer, and we hid in there so we won't get shot. That was a scary moment. Again, I was 6 years old when that happened. After the war finished, 1979, we lived there with the new communist regime, and we finally were able to leave to the United States in 1981. I came to Miami in 1981, and we stayed here. And my brother put me in a military school summer camp. And in that summer camp, they taught us discipline. They taught us, military things, and so it was very appealing. And I guess the commander there discovered the leadership qualities that I had, and so we told my brother we want to go to the military school. They're willing to pay everything for us there, and they will even give us a job. We had to cut the grass for the military school, and we were able to stay there and go to the military school. People say that timing is everything in life, and I guess timing in my life at that particular moment, I was very vulnerable. Coming from a war, coming from a country that has suffered a lot, then joining this military school. The commander in the military school actually had a side job. He would go back to Nicaragua and train some people over there in military, and he will come back. Sometimes he will leave for 2-3 weeks, and we will never see him again. Then he'll come back and appear again. One day I asked him, why do you leave? What do you do? He says, well, I'm going to tell you, but I want you to think about. This is my brother and I that he was talking to us, and he says, I want you to think about, because maybe you guys want to come and do the same thing with me. Just go out there back to your country to liberate your people, to go and help the fighting over there, so your country can be free. And so this commander was I guess in a way recruiting us to go back and fight for liberation of Nicaragua. Being young at that moment, you don't completely understand all the ins and outs and the laws and everything that you're getting into, but God had a bigger plan. At that precise moment, my brother was in transition. My older brother was in transition of going to Canada to continue his studies in medicine, and he was living alone. And while he was there, he said to us, he called us and he said, hey, Canada is really good. They're offering a lot of things here. Why don't you guys come and join me and live with me over here in Canada? Initially we said no, but then one day all of a sudden my brother Jim and I, we looked at each other and said, you want to go to Canada? I think it's just snow over there, but we can go check it out. Let's go. And I truly believe that it was God put in our minds to go there, because that's where I found God. As I arrived in Canada, I will never forget the first day that I arrived. It was May 12th. May 12th. And May is supposed to be like beautiful and sunny, all right? That day it snowed in Canada. So that was the welcome that Canada gave me. First time I ever saw snow was on my first day arriving to Canada. But Canada is special to me in my heart, because that is the place that I found God. Actually, God found me. I was the one lost. And the way it happened was like this: that my brother's wife was a Seventh-day Adventist, and so my brother had found a church for her to go, so she can be at peace, so she can be happy over there, and so that church was playing a soccer game against another church. That was the Edmonton church playing a soccer game against the Calgary church, and so they invited us to go play soccer. And, I love soccer, so I play soccer. My brother plays soccer too, and so we went to play the soccer game. And in the soccer game, there was an individual. I guess that by accident kicked one of my teammates. I did not like that, so I asked him why he did that, and all of a sudden that conversation got heat up and it ended up in a fight. And so while we were fighting and pushing and punching, all of a sudden I felt somebody from the back that grabbed me by the neck and pulled me out. As I was being pulled out, somebody punched me on my face. Well, the person that pulled me out was my brother. He was the goalkeeper, and he was pulling me out of fights, like he always does, pull me out of fights. And as he was pulling me out, the other guy punched me on the face. I got kicked out of the game. My brother didn't, so he stayed as goalie. But as I got kicked out of the game, I sat on the outside. A girl from the church came by and say, "Hey, are you okay?" I guess she was, just worried that I'm a visitor, and all of a sudden I get into this fight in her church, and she was concerned. I didn't talk to her. I didn't want to talk to anyone at that moment, and so as she left, I kind of looked at her and said, "Hey, she's pretty." So the next Saturday, I was at the church visiting, looking for that girl, and from then on, I kept going, and then she started giving me Bible studies over the phone at night, and that's how I learned about God and accepted Him as my Savior. God is real because as He was working in my life through that girl, my brother was also being worked and being inspired by God, and so I'm happy to say that we got baptized both on the same day, and my brother was used a different channel completely. God used a complete different channel to get to him. His experience is completely different than mine, but I saw a miracle that he did in his life and did in my life, because we were heading in the wrong direction. I believe if God had not intervened in the life of my brother and I, we both would have gone the direction of that military school and that offer that it was being given to us. And to me, that was at that precise moment, it was comfortable, it was appealing, it was a rush, it was a high that we were living on. But God has His way of reaching the heart and saying, I want to give you life, and not just a moment, but I want to give you life eternally. So to me, that's a miracle. I'm a walking miracle. My name is Juan Leon, and this is my Jesus story.